Hey there, all things MSP crew. I am here with Nancy Henriquez from Sybil Consulting. Probably my best dressed interview of the day, absolutely. And Nancy and I come from very similar backgrounds. We both owned MSPs, both sold them, and have been working various jobs in the channel, doing all kinds of different things. But your latest endeavor is Sybil Consulting. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so first, Sybil, let me start with the name. What Sybil means is from Greek mythology. Sibyls used to be the prophetess that people would go to for life advice, for them to be able to help them to basically tell the future, right? Mm-hmm. And help them out in that way. And so that's something that I realized people come to me a lot of the times to ask me for advice, and so that's where Sybil came from. It was just a way to like, hey, you can come to us for life advice, and maybe or maybe not we can tell the future, but we can certainly try.
You can help form it anyway.
That's right. That's right.
I think it's so great that people like you have had the experiences that you've had in the MSP industry. You have a very rounded, exposure to all different sides, and I think that's what really puts you in the position that you can do this consulting with MSPs. I assume you do MSPs and vendors?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so for MSPs, we put together, I've spent the last, I would say, 6 months really digging into what was my experience from my break-fix shop that I started when I was 22 to selling that and starting an MSP and then selling the MSP and then going from small shop and then all the way to enterprise level type of MSP where we're working on hundreds of customers and across the country and all of that. So I got the experience of small MSP, large MSP, and then the vendor side. Yeah. And so coming back and over the last 6 months, putting all of that knowledge and experience into workshops that I could then teach others how to do what I've done. How do you get what I've done in 20 years in 2 months? That kind of thing. So saving them time, money, and energy and effort for sure.
And so many people miss that there is a huge difference between the small MSP and the enterprise MSP.
Oh, yes.
So many differences in how the business operates, the types of clients they serve, how those clients behave and act.
Oh, yes.
So I think it's important that you have that scope of knowledge and are able to share that with the particular client that you might have. We were in the vendor hall last night, and you guys were walking around, and you happened to be just where we met was a client of yours.
Yeah.
And they just could not say enough good things about what you guys were doing and how you were helping them. I think they were a small MSP out of the Midwest, if I remember correctly. And so what kinds of things are you doing for that type of MSP to help them?
Yeah, so the very first thing is knowing that you have to have clarity within your purpose and then aligning your company to that purpose. And so that's the very first step that we're doing is helping, and this sounds strange, okay, I know, but helping MSPs discover their purpose. If they don't know it, and most people don't, we think that we know it, but we don't actually know it, or we can't define it as concrete, right? And so that's the very first thing that we do is define your purpose. And then we look at how is your team aligned to your purpose and your company's purpose. Because if there's any kind of misalignment within that, then obviously you can grow a company that you don't love. And that's where we find that I really want to help people not just build and grow companies, but build and grow companies that they truly love. Yeah. And so that's where it all begins, is identifying that purpose.
And I think that has a lot to do with the technician turned entrepreneur type of business. because we originally got into it because we just like to solve problems.
Yes,
we like
100%.
to fix things, we like to solve problems. And things have evolved in this industry.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not just fixing things anymore. It's actually solving real business problems rather than technical ones
Right.
a lot of the time. And so when you're doing that, in order to do so many things in the business, knowing which clients you should be taking on,
Exactly.
that comes back to your purpose.
100%.
Start with Why. Great book. Recommend it for everybody. It's probably my second most recommended book behind The E-Myth by Michael Gerber, which, by the way, is the quintessential technician turned entrepreneur book. You cannot be a technician turned entrepreneur without reading that book.
Oh, yes,
I mean, absolutely. And all of that speaks to not the technical work, but it speaks to why you're doing it and how to communicate that why to the rest of your team. And so much of that is important in order to have the satisfaction that I think people are looking for in business today.
Exactly. It's all about fulfillment if you really think about it, right? And so one of the things that I did, so I found this assessment. It's called the Purpose Factor Assessment, and it shocked me when I first did it. It's 20 minutes to take the assessment or to go through the assessment within itself. When I first did it, it was like, there's no way this is going to tell me my purpose. There's no way. But it did. It did. Once I got the report, it was like, whoa, this truly sees me and it sees what my purpose is. And it almost like pulled my entire life into perspective in the sense of, oh, this makes sense now. And so using that tool, it was like, there is no way that people are going all this time building businesses, doing what they're doing, and not truly knowing and understanding what they're here to do.
Yeah.
Like the saying is, there's the two most important times in a human's life is when you're born and the day you find out why. And so for me, it was exactly that. And so I believed in this so much that I then took it, gave it to my team, and that was like phenomenal in understanding what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are, understanding like what I thought I knew is exactly what this paper showed me, basically, in terms of how alignment within everyone's purpose drives innovation so much more. And so that was something that was like, oh my God, I can't believe it. And so I loved this so much that I became a facilitator for it. And so that is the number one tool that I am using to help people identify what their purpose is, because if I had this tool 10 years ago, I think that it would have completely changed the direction of my MSP. It would have saved me so much more time in not just identifying my purpose and my teams, but also my clients and how they aligned to me at the end of the day. And when I had my break fix shop, I realized that it wasn't in alignment with who I was, because it's very transactional, and I was not that type of person.
Yeah.
I'm not that type of person. I'm more relationship driven. And so the MSP model fit a lot better in that sense. And so it didn't stop there. It was then what other clients see the world the way that I see it, and that I could help with what I know and have to offer.
That is so important. I think it's great. Number one, so Purpose Factor is the name of the resource.
Yes.
And you are a facilitator now, so if
Yes.
anybody wants to go through it and get the most out of it, I assume that going through a facilitator is the way to do that.
Yep, 100%.
And I think this applies for any size of MSP. So even the smaller, call it the lifestyle MSP, everybody knows what we're talking about there.
Yes.
You're not going to be happy as a lifestyle MSP without knowing your why.
Great.
But same idea, different side of the coin though. If you're running a 20, 30, 40 person MSP, if you can't communicate why you guys are there, you're not going to have that alignment with your team that's going to drive the results that you're looking for either.
Correct, and that's, I was on a panel yesterday talking about culture that thrives, and I was telling MSPs, we do vulnerability scans, once a quarter, once a year, however that may be, but how often do we do scans on purpose? Or how often do we audit our purpose and our company's purpose and our team's purpose and that alignment? And so that's something that I say you've got to continue to do on a regular basis, just like we do audits and everything else that we do, right? And we have to realign every so often because things change. And so that's something that I highly recommend now that I've done it myself. And it's like, oh, yeah, this makes tremendous difference.
Well, I think that's awesome, and it's very different than what so many other consultants are doing in the space, because so many of them are very tactical. And it sounds like this is much more strategic.
Oh, yes.
From a philosophical point of view almost. And I think that's where you've got to start anything that's going to be meaningful.
Right. 100%.
And so I really do appreciate that you're bringing that to an industry that traditionally has just been 1, 2, 3.
Yep.
Turn this knob, flip this switch. So it's just great. So how's it going so far?
So far, so good. You talked to one of our clients yesterday, and just seeing the difference, the impact that we can make, and them knowing, like, we're saving marriages.
Yeah, because so many of these smaller MSPs are a husband-wife team,
Exactly, and so something like that to me is incredibly fulfilling. Like, this is why I was put on this earth, is to help with that, to be able to help others with the mistakes that I made, or the things that I didn't get to do because of certain decisions, or however that may be. But if somebody else can learn and just have a better outcome because of what I've been through, that is everything.
Amazing. So, we've known each other for years, but only recently really got to talk over the last maybe 1 or 2 years. And it's been really enlightening to see the things that your point of view on this industry. And I really do appreciate it, and I think it's something that a lot more people need to listen to.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Well, thank you for doing this. And if somebody wants to reach out to Sybil Consulting and you, where do they do that?
Yeah. So SybilConsultingGroup.com /purpose is where you can go and find more information about the purpose factor assessment and about Sybil.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you very much, Nancy.
Thank you so much.